Josh, pleasure to have you back on again. I mean, I wish it was a different story with the futures as well. You're a long-term macro guy. I get it. But just off the top of your head, any clue as to why suddenly Dow futures are off 300 to start the week? Is there anything sort of screaming at you in the headlines?
There's nothing screaming at me, but I think there's definitely the whisper or the loud whisper of, the Delta variant. And so it's not bullish for growth, and certainly not here, but more so overseas. And I think we had the weekend to mull that over, and the reaction in the bond market is quite apparent. So the bond market's telling us that growth is going to moderate. It'll still be above trend, as we would expect with the reopening here and elsewhere. But yeah, the bond market says it all. We're a little bit slower growth. We borrowed some growth from future quarters.
Yeah, I mean, I guess is it saying, Josh, is there a risk to at least a temporary reopening in parts of the U.S. or the world? That would seem to be the one thing that is kind of out there as concerns grow over some of these variants.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that we kind of, put the cart before the horse. So I think in this country, it's been a great story of reopening, and we're seeing that, we're not done yet. And, the Russell 2000 off maybe 6 or 7% this month has told the story of, a little bit of a moderation in growth. And so, we'll see what that means for inflation. But yeah, I think there's really no new news in my mind today, but, the weekend maybe didn't help people. Too much time to think.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, we've got to be careful. You got case counts on the rise, hospitalizations in certain areas. But of course, we do know the stats. And let's be honest about it. If you are vaccinated, then you are not quite 100% protected, but certainly the numbers have been very, very solid, particularly against symptomatic or severe illness. So that is the good news on that front, and let us not forget that. Outside of that, we will reopen fully at some point if we have not already, and you're going to buy stocks now for then. I mean, if we see a down move in markets, I would assume you're a buyer, because I know from reading your work and the last time we talked that you are long-term bullish. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the 10,000-foot view is that, the S&P, the Russell 2000, at 20 times forward earnings, a 5% earnings yield in a backdrop of 1.25 on the 10-year. So that spread is incredibly compelling. It's been compelling now for a while. And that spread is where we were before the pandemic started. So yes, we're long term. We're not going to react or overreact. I think the backdrop remains quite positive. And so yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Is there a certain part of the market that you find more valuable right now, maybe slightly undervalued or more to your liking, or is it really just stock here, stock there, stock pickers market?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's always a stock pickers market. I would, though, look at midcaps. So I think that, growth overseas is, a bit delayed from where we thought it might be, several months back when vaccines were rolling out. And so we would look at midcaps, having a very tough month. As I mentioned, about a 5% earnings yield. I think the backdrop is, a little bit more exposure to U.S. revenue streams in the midcap space, which could be a positive, especially in this environment as we're looking to get things open on a global basis. And also, I would just point out, about $7 trillion in cash on the balance sheets of the S&P 500. So certainly the idea of M&A becoming more of a thing, getting more of these merger Mondays. We saw Zoom making a deal today, but we don't really see a ton of M&A activity when we wake up Monday morning. It's not like what it used to be. And then also, private equity, the financial buyers, about 1.6 trillion on their balance sheets. So, I think that midcaps sit in this nice area where they make attractive acquisition candidates, perhaps fly under the radar of antitrust, which is becoming a bigger thing in this administration. So, yeah, I would look at midcaps. I would look at companies like Meritage Homes, Mattel, as we near Christmas in about 6 months or 5 months. Very attractive valuations.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.